Bright QT. Every student matters.
Hello everyone, let's move on to our next topic here, that is the Treaty of Vienna and new spirit of conservatism. Now students, you already have learnt about the other two factors that led to the rise of nation states. Now the last factor here is this Treaty of Vienna. Now what do we understand by this term, that is Vienna? That is treaty. So basically, treaty here, it means agreement or approved agreement between two or more states or countries. So basically, this was an approved or signed agreement that was signed between different countries, and it took place at Vienna. That is the present day capital of Austria. And when was this treaty signed? So this treaty was signed in the year 1815. So here you have to understand 2-3 points. Now what happened in 1815, that after which this Treaty of Vienna was signed? And why was this Treaty of Vienna signed after all? So students, have you heard the name Napoleon Bonaparte? Yes, you must have heard this name. When we were talking about the French Revolution and aftermath, and also in this chapter. So, Napoleon Bonaparte, he played a very major role in the French Revolution, right? Now, he was the military leader, and he fought many fights there, right? In different regions, he played a very important role. And from then on, he became the Emperor of France somewhere around in 1804. Now, he started acquiring the different regions of Europe, and all the other European powers, they were very much afraid with this expansion from France, and therefore they decided to defeat Napoleon Bonaparte, the military dictator. And this is the illustration to show the Congress of Vienna or the Treaty of Vienna that was signed in the year 1815. But have we answered the question, that is why was the treaty signed in the year 1815? No. It was in the year 1815 that Napoleon Bonaparte was defeated by these victorious European powers. Now, who were these European powers? So, they were Britain, Austria, Prussia and Russia. So, in the year 1815, after defeating the great military dictator whose name was Napoleon Bonaparte, these European powers, that is Britain, Austria, Prussia and Russia, they decided to meet at Vienna. Where is that? It is in Austria, to draw up a settlement for Europe, so that they could now challenge the other leaders, right? And they could stop this from happening, that any other military dictator, he could rise again and he could try to expand his areas, right? That could prove a threat to other European powers. So basically, this was the treaty signed in the year 1815, and it was led by Austrian Chancellor whose name was Duke Metternich. So this is the image here. As you can see, this is an illustration. Here is Metternich and other important leaders, the European powers. They are here and they are drawing this settlement that was known as the Treaty of Vienna. Now let us try to understand what were the changes done in this treaty. So Treaty of Vienna, it said that Bourbon dynasty had to be brought to power again. So the first change was that Bourbon dynasty was restored to power. Now do you remember the Bourbon dynasty? Yes students, in class 9th you have read about the French Revolution. Am I correct? Yes. You read about the French Revolution, and in that you learnt about the Bourbon dynasty, right? King Louis XVI. He was from this family of the Bourbon dynasty, and you can definitely remember the name through this biscuit. There is a famous brand that is the Bourbon, right? So the name of the biscuit is Bourbon, and through that you can connect this name so that you will never forget it. So basically, it was restored to power because in French Revolution, you already have learned that the autocratic rule was overthrown, right? Now, second change that happened here was, or the proposal that was given was that France, they lost all the territories that was annexed under Napoleon. So I already have told you that when Napoleon Bonaparte, he became the military dictator, he started this expansion, and different regions of Europe, they were brought under his rule, or they were joined with the territory of France. So all those areas that were annexed by Napoleon here, it was taken back. Now France was surrounded by new states to prevent further aggression. So basically, in order to stop or in order to check this, what happened? France, the territory here was now surrounded with new states. Let's have a look at the map first, then I'll tell you what all changes took place here in the geographical terms. So here you can see this is the region of France, right? Now it was surrounded by these new territories, okay? And these new territories, they were joined here to stop further expansion of France. Apart from this, there were some other changes that took place. Belgium was added to the Kingdom of Netherlands. Let's see in the map here. Now this is the region of Netherlands, and the region of Belgium was added in this region of Netherlands, okay, or the Kingdom of Netherlands. Austria was given the control of North Italy, and new territories were added to the Prussian Empire. Now you can see that all these leaders or the European powers, they were trying to gain these territories. So basically Austria was also involved in this treaty. So they were given the control of North Italy, and also new territories were added to the Prussian Empire. So let's see, this is the region of Austria. They were given the control of this North Italy, okay, this region. Apart from this, the Prussian region here, they were also given the new territories. This is Prussia, right? So you have to go through the map in order to understand what changes were taking place through this Treaty of Vienna. Germany was left untouched. So you already have learned about, let us look at this again. So you already have learnt about the confederation, the German confederation, right, of 39 states that was formed during the time of Napoleon or before that. So basically this German confederation, it was left untouched, okay. Genoa was added to Piedmont. Let us see where was it added. So this is the region of Genoa, and Piedmont, Sardinia, this is the region here, okay. So basically Genoa was added in this region. Russia was given the part of Poland. This is the region of Russia, this is the Kingdom of Poland, and this was given to Russia. So what are we concluding here? We see that Russia, Prussia, Austria, okay, all these important regions, they were given extra territories, right? And the second point that we learn here is that France was surrounded by new territories in order to stop further aggression, right, or the expansion of this region, okay. So in 1815, With the defeat of Napoleon in the Battle of Waterloo, it led to the rise of new idea, that is conservatism. Now students, you already have learnt about this idea of liberalism, right? In previous part you read about liberalism. Here you have to understand that there was a rise of new ideology, that is conservatism. Now when did this happen? It happened after the defeat of Bonaparte here in the Battle of Waterloo. Now what was this philosophy of conservatism? Let us try to understand that. So conservatism was a political philosophy that stressed the importance of tradition and established institutions such as the monarch, the church and the hierarchies and so on, state hierarchies and so on. So this is the Battle of Waterloo, an illustration to show how Napoleon was defeated, once who was considered as the greatest military dictator. He was defeated in the Battle of Waterloo by the other European powers, about which we already have read, right? So you have to understand this idea, conservatism. The term conservatives, as this term signifies, it definitely relates to established traditions, right? So basically, the whole idea was to stress on the established traditions. Now, what were these established traditions? The monarch, right? So, Bourbon dynasty, it was restored to power. This was one example to show this idea of, or the spirit of conservatism. So they wanted to go back to the established traditional institutions that was there in Europe to preserve the monarchy, the church, social hierarchy and property. These are the keywords that you have to keep in mind. Monarchy as in the king, who was the autocrat, who had the absolute rule in Europe. Then the church, they had powers, right? Ultimate powers, they were rested in their hands by the king. Social hierarchy, where church, nobility, aristocrats, they were the powerful groups. And also property that were now controlled by only a few. They also wanted to strengthen the monarchy, right? Now these were the ideas of conservatism. Very much important, students. It can be asked in exam as well. So you have to keep these points in mind. And there were some people who believed that the modernization that was done during the period of Napoleon, it could be kept, and through this the idea of conservatism can be stressed or can be brought about. So basically the idea was to have a modern army, efficient bureaucracy or the administration and dynamic economy. Only through these changes they could strengthen the monarchy as well, right? So these were some of the ideas of conservatism. Now, you can see all these regions here that we already have discussed, and like I'm pointing the map here, students, you must look at the map. Really important when we are talking about the Treaty of Vienna, when we are talking about the Confederation of German States and so on. Now, we already learned that what were the beliefs of the conservatives or this rise of conservatism. Now, when this conservative regime, it had established in Europe, it was basically autocratic in nature. What do we understand by the term autocratic? It means it had or wanted the absolute rule, right? Autocracy, you already have learned, right? So there is one ruler who has the complete control or the absolute control of the all empire, right? So basically what did they do? They imposed censorship laws to control the news, books, plays and songs that reflected the ideas of liberty and freedom. So all those songs, books, plays, dramas, news, everything that talked about liberalism, in short, they were banned. Censorship was imposed on them because it was now an autocratic government who had the absolute rule. and definitely they never wanted that anyone could influence the whole society there, right? So through these media works or the news, books or plays, anyone was easily affected, and that is how it led to the rise of nation states. Am I correct? Yes. So basically, they did not tolerate any criticism against the established monarch, and therefore censorship laws were imposed on all these things. And because of these repressive laws, it led to the formation of secret societies. Now, people who wanted to go against the established monarch, what will they do? Because the government cannot hold in any criticism, right? And they have imposed censorship laws. So therefore, secret societies were formed in the undergrounds in different areas, and all these revolutionaries, they were now trained how they should attack the established monarch, right? Now this is how this whole idea was developing. And one of the important revolutionary here is Giuseppe Mazzini, about whom we are going to learn in detail when we will talk about the unification of Italy. Okay, this is the image of Giuseppe Mazzini. For now, you have to keep 2-3 points here in mind, that he was an Italian revolutionary. He became a member of secret society, that name, and the name here was Carbonari, and he also founded the Young Italy movement or the Young Italy secret society in Europe. Okay, so that's whole for now here. We will learn about Mazzini in great detail, as in what was the role of Mazzini in the unification of Italy. Now, moving on, let's discuss some of the important questions that have been given in your exercise and also asked in the exam. So in very short answer questions, you will find question number 2 there. When was the Treaty of Vienna drawn? Very simple and easy. Right now we read about it. So it was drawn in the year 1815. And students, you should mark here that in 2016, it was asked for 1 mark. Okay. So the answer here will be 1815. Now in long answer questions, you will find in question number 6 here, mention any 4 proposals of the Congress of Vienna 1815. And to remind you again, in 2018, this question was asked for 4 marks. Now here, you have to write 4 points and you have to elaborate a bit. Now this has been asked in long answer questions, so definitely you have to keep in mind the word limit here. Okay? Now what are the 4 points that you are going to mention in this? Like we read that when we are talking about the Congress of Vienna, they stressed on this idea, right? The new idea that was drawn here was the spirit of conservatism. So, according to the proposal, Bourbon dynasty was restored to power in France. France lost all the territories that was annexed under Napoleon Bonaparte, who was the military dictator in France. Now, Germany region, it was left untouched. The Confederation of 39 states, it was left untouched there. Now, the 4th point is Belgium was added to the Kingdom of Netherlands. Yes, students, you have already learnt about it as well. You also learnt about that Genoa was added to the region of Piedmont, and the part of Poland was given to Russian Empire. Apart from that, many territories were also added to the Prussian Empire. So these are some of the proposals that were given in the Congress of Vienna, or these were some of the settlements that each and every country that was involved in the Treaty of Vienna, they agreed upon, right? So these are some of the important points that you have to mention here. Now, moving on to the next question. Who started the first freedom movement in Italy? Yes. Now the answer here is Giuseppe Mazzini, and you will find it in very short answer questions. You can write that Giuseppe Mazzini was an Italian revolutionary who joined the secret societies, and he founded his secret society, the first secret society here, that was the Young Italy, and the movement was also started by Giuseppe Mazzini here. He was also involved in the Carbonari secret society. Now these are some of the points that you can mention here. Now this is very short answer question, so 1-2 sentence would be suffice here. You have to answer it like this.